All right. Hey, hey. All right, guys, let's jump on into this. We are going to take a little look at the specific message tonight, which is I had this I was awake. This isn't about me. This is in like the middle of the day. I pictured this person that like had some kind of a dream because I pictured somebody like sitting up in their bed. It seemed like it was likely a masculine, but I don't know for sure. I just, pictured this person like sitting up from even like a daytime dream though, and it's very obvious, like one of this heart pounding, like, wow, okay, there was a lot going on in whatever that dream was. And I got the distinct impression that this character was like trying to figure out what am I supposed to take away from that. I'm not saying it was a scary dream or a good dream. I don't know what kind of dream it was. It was just something that has like a message in it. Nikki, good to see you. Decoded Empress Unicorn. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Okay, so we have an Eight of Cups sideways. If that's the premise for our storyline, right now we still can't tell who our character is. We have two versions of this feminine, though. One is a ghostly dreamscape person, kind of like she's astral projecting. So maybe we'll, for right now, say it could be a feminine. But this has to do with either somebody is like through the dream state, they're calling out to her, or they're starting to dream of her because she is visiting them in their dreams, like astral projection, dreamscape type stuff. These sci-fi stories are some of my favorites that we get to tell. But obviously the question mark here is, are we walking away from something, or are we trying to return to something? And it's, oh God, I'm hearing that song, Across the River, I'll be there. Don't be afraid, oh my love, I'll be watching you from above. But I'd give all the world tonight to be with you because I'm on your side. Just think of me and I'll be there. Although I don't, that dream is, or excuse me, that song is very romantic. I haven't heard that in a long time. It's such a beautiful melody. Is that In Excess? I can't think of who that is. This feels like it's all through the dream state, though, not like somebody's on the other side of the veil. We have someone who's dreamt of being a knight in shining armor. And I don't know if the message here is it's like I'm wishing for someone who, and even fantasizing about somebody and dreaming about wishing that this person would come back. And I wish that they were my knight in shining armor, even if I knew better, even if I knew that they were actually a Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is not a knight in shining armor. They're, passionate and sometimes incredibly driven by like lust, but they don't really stay for a long time. They're only in for a good time. But this is almost like trying to, repaint an image and like dream about or wish that somebody would show back up in my world so that they could be a hero instead of the person that I believe them to be, which was maybe a knight of wands. It does feel like we have a feminine who's trying to repaint a storyline, but here's what I can't capture just yet is the person who's having a lucid dream. Is it him? Is it the knight dreaming of her because she's astral projecting to him and like whispering like, please be somebody other than who I knew you to be? Like kind of like, hey, return to me, but return to me as a knight in shining armor instead of somebody that maybe was not reliable. That could be the story here. I'm not sure, but it could also be him, like wishing for her to see him that way. It could be him wanting to be seen that way, even if he's not that way. Hopefully we'll get a little clearer. Okay, we have the Strength card, and we have, this is such a gruesome card to me. Normally the Strength card always has like a lion on it, right? But oh no, they had to go and put a freaking snake on it. And I do not do well with serpents. But snakes do represent truth. They represent obviously like shedding an old skin. This is her like hatching this. Really, I always thought that this should be the Death card, not the Strength card. But I'll tell you, it would take a heck of a lot of courage for me to chill out with a giant snake. So kudos to her. Nerves of steel. But we see this, since something is hatching, it feels like a new idea is hatching. It feels like, if anything, this dream state and the message is trying to get transmitted is to maybe change one's opinion about something, have the strength to maybe look at things for what they are, not what we wished they were. I don't know yet. That sounds a little sad. Hi, everyone. So nice to see you guys. We have got 8 of Wands. Yes, babe, I will be going to the other channel right after this, Lisa, and we will definitely do Aries. We're going to do Aries live tonight on the other channel, okay? You're so sweet. I'm so glad to know you're looking forward to the Aries story. Absolutely. We'll also do Cancerian, but after this, I'm going to Aries on the other channel, and then I'll bounce back here to Cancerian, okay? I wanted to make sure that we got everybody at least one video this week. The 8 of Wands, we have got characters that are clinging to each other. Even from a great distance, they are clinging. They are trying to hold on. They are trying so hard to not let one another go. So either this is like through the dream state, the message is, let me be honest with myself. I've never been able to let this person go. I actually still wish I could hear from them. I just wish that they were different. But if they're not going to be different, then now I understand why I haven't heard from them. I don't know if that's the message in the dream state. Let's be more direct with how we ask this. King of Wands, what's your role in all of this? Are you having a dream? What do you feel about her? Let's ask it that way. What do you feel about her? What do you want from her? 6 of Swords in the reverse says, I've never been over her. Never. I never stop thinking about her. She may float through my mind more than I care to admit. She's the thorn in my side. She's the person that still makes me anxious. She's the thought process that still goes through my mind. I can't get to a calm space. And it's crazy because he thinks of her as somebody who's doing really well. He thinks of her as somebody who's like super abundant. She lands on her feet. She always does really well in her life. She's probably really happy without me. But there's this hope that he has that maybe there's some part of her still hidden away that thinks of him too, right? Because here she is like wearing a mask, kind of sideswept, with this cloak around her, kind of like she's got a little something to hide. He obviously still keeps her on his mind. Are you dreaming of her right now as well then? Is that what we have? We have a 4 of Pentacles and we have a 6 of Pentacles. When I say, is he dreaming of her? And we would never normally see the Libra scales on a 4 of Pentacles. This is a really unusual card. And we can see he wears a mask over here. So even if he does dream of her, he's like, I try not to say anything. But if we have the scales, then we know that there's this balance between both of them. This is representing both of them. As much as he holds back and wears a mask, so too does the Queen of Wands. So when I say, is he dreaming of her still? Well, the fact that he's never gotten over her, the fact that there's obviously this mutual, withholding. I really feel like he hopes that she talks about him to other people, but I don't know what the tree of life is anchored here and is growing through the scale. So I don't know if this is him who wears a mask and doesn't say a word about her, but he hopes that like her family knows about him or will encourage her to take action toward him or something. Or that he like lives on in, her memory through dialogue at some point. But the other way I could look at this is it could be that he's stayed very rooted right where he is. And he hides the fact that he still thinks heavily about her. There's something about like a gossip aspect on this 6 of Pentacles card. So when I say, does he dream about her? I don't know. If he does, he hides it really, really well. He doesn't admit that. And I don't think his dream state so much as it is like daytime, like, look, she's always like locked in that heart space of his, right? He's never gotten over her. So if you're not over somebody, you're carrying them with you all the time anyway. You don't even have to dream about them. Let's go over to her though. So now I'm going to say she is our lucid dreamer in this. So feminine, are you able to like sift through your emotions around this and why you're having these dreams? 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, she's like, it's because I know that the dream tells me I'm still longing for him. That 5 of Pentacles. We see her very like 1930s, like silent movie, Hollywood kind of film. I don't know, kind of like a tragic character from a silent movie or something. We have the Empress, again, very much like the 1930s, you know, really elegant, like robe, long kimono kind of dressing gown, morning gown. This feels like, yes, she's understood what this is about. And even this is very dreamscapey, right? You know, it's very cloud like. um I think in her dream, uh somehow I know that you still love me in my dreams. Can't think of who sings that 80s song. The voice is like so well known. Is that REO Speedwagon? I can't remember. um I always get them mixed up with some other band. So forgive me if I just got that wrong again. I do that like all the time with them. I don't know why. But I think she's trying to figure out what this dreamscape means, but I definitely feel like it is her, whether she wants to or not, it is her astral projecting into their realm. She dreams of them because she misses them. She wishes it had been different, or she wishes that they saw her as an empress. She wishes that, like, seriously, you wanted to let all this go? You wanted to let all this, I didn't matter? Are you serious? Like, I don't think she's full of herself. I think it's just kind of like, you really never want to talk to me again? This is how it ends? Really? You know, it's already been quite a bit of time. I mean, it could have been 5 years, and she's recently like dreamt of them or something. And it could be because when you're still wondering, like, with that 8 of Cups sideways, is this really the way this stops? I never hear from them again. They're content to let go of an empress. She's not saying like, oh, but I miss them, I want them. She's saying it's really hard to believe that they would let me go, and that this is the way the story ends. And I think that's more what the dream is. That's maybe more what she's like, you know, energetically knocking on their window, you know, in that dream state, basically saying, so you really are, like, I guess you were just, you know, around me for a good time, not a long time. I guess this is it. I didn't make any impact. You just moved on to somebody else. That's the way you go. You know, I think this is part of her like checking one last time through the dream state, but really the dream state is connected to the subconscious, right? They say that animals dream, and you see like your dog running. They say animals' dreams are to like prepare them, and they like practice things in their dream that they do in real life. So that's why we see them running, and we see like babies nursing and stuff. You know, it's so cute when you see them obviously having delicious milk, you know. Babies are so funny when they sleep, and they're practicing nursing and stuff. I feel like this is her, like in the dream state, more or less practicing something that her subconscious maybe needs to say, which is like, really, this is it. You're letting go of a fucking empress. Sorry, I've been dropping bad words lately. Bad words, Kate. I do not know why. I reserve them typically for the, you know, like the moments where I think it it needs a little bit more spice, because this is a little sad, but it's also like, seriously, you know. And I think that that's where that's where we inject the horrible language. But this whole storyline is it is like, if she were to say the things maybe that are in the subconscious, which is like, did it matter at all? Do you think of me? Is this the way it ends? I mean, we can see, no, she's a real sore spot, always has been in their life. She's the one they can't get over. She's the one, though, that they assume is great. She's wonderful without me, but I hope sometimes she talks about me still, because man, I've always been still hooked on her, and I kind of secretly hope she still like remembers me. Oh, that great song by Luke Nelson. There's a great version that he performs it with his dad, Willie Nelson, but it's called Georgia. And each night I pray that I'll forget about Georgia, because she'll never love me the way I know love's supposed to be. And something about like, and that's why each night I pray I'll forget about Georgia, but a part of me hopes that she'll never forget about me. That's the lines in it. It's a really pretty song. But I almost feel like that's maybe the way they're feeling about this. Like, I just hope that she remembers me. We have Page of Pentacles. Look, we've got now this ghostly skeleton version of the serpent wrapping around her. And we have the ghostly bird messenger here. And it's kind of like, from, God's lips to my ears or something. I don't know if there was a message that was sent once upon a time that was never received. This is Year of the Snake, and we've seen the snake coming out twice. Very unusual to see it on a Page of Pentacles card, and really unusual to see it on that Strength card. So we know that this is giving us a timeline, right? For this storyline, this is very much right now, this year, maybe because, we're coming into like kind of the ending of this year, right? I can't believe how fast this year has gone. Oh my God. We're about into September. This is nuts. But we've got something here where if there was a message that was never responded to, or a message that was sent and she never got, that could play a role in, like, if a serpent is here, it means we're about to shed something. We're about to let go of an old way of life. And I almost feel like she's just checking one last time energetically. Is this really it? We never speak again. I don't know. Did she send a message to them once upon a time and they never responded? Or does this say they did respond and she never got it? Now, this is obviously about a message because it's Page of Pentacles. This whole story has been about messages, but it's been about messages coming through the dream state. It's not, I would argue, this is not a conversation that can happen in the dream state. Something this important cannot be handled through astral projection. They need to actually converse. But this brings up this question mark about long ago, there was a message. I just don't know that it was received. The bird is there touching her lips. Tell me about that. 7 of Swords, 10 of Wands. Did somebody intercept a message intended for her and it never got into her hands? Is that possible? Why do we have a liar, liar, pants on fire? Somebody else wearing a mask. This gives me great concern. Did we have somebody who once upon a time got a hold of a message, tossed it, deleted it, something before she ever got to see it, specifically so that maybe these two would imagine that things were over and that they'd never talk again? And there's I don't know who this would have been. Jealous roommate, family member, someone who ran interference for whatever reason. We got to look at that. Hang on. What's the 7 of Swords all about? Hanged Man. If somebody did this on purpose, they did it to cause delays. They maybe have also felt a little bit bad about it, but haven't known how to undo what they did. If somebody's like, I did throw away a letter, but I deleted something on their phone or their email, or I know I did that, but it was a long time ago now. I don't know if I should ever say it. It feels like there's this weird pause. Maybe they thought they were helping. Ace of Wands. I don't know. I don't want to go too far down this murky road of, do we have a third-party interference energy in all of this? But we have somebody spying through a keyhole. And she seems to be waiting and waiting and waiting for something that she really wants. So let me give a scenario that is in my mind right now. If this could potentially be someone who, let's say he sent her a message. Let's say it hasn't just been an ending in silence. Let's say he sent a message and it didn't get to her because this character ran interference. Let's say this is, somebody in her life that intercepted a message. And they thought that, that person didn't treat her nice. She deserves better. They shouldn't get to wreck her life and, cause her grief anymore. So I'm going to make sure that she doesn't have to deal with them anymore. And they took a liberty. Nobody should be making decisions for anybody else, right? Never, never, never. People get to make their own choices. But let's say somebody interfered and they have not ever told her this, not at all. And in the meantime, she's kind of always held this space and always wondered what has happened. But now it's like there's this locked door between the two of them because If they sent her a message, she never got it, so she never responded. There's been no invitation. It seems like the door is locked, but either both of them like wait on the other side of the door. Even here, if somebody thought me intercepting something, making sure she doesn't ever get that message from them is good, it'll help her move on from them. She doesn't want to be with them anyway, so I can throw this in the garbage. That's BS. They didn't do that to be nice. I'm sorry, but you don't have a liar, liar, pants on fire. You don't need to have a card like this if you think you're doing the right thing. You know, if it'd be better to say, hey, so-and-so sent you a letter. Do you want it or you want me to pitch it in the garbage? That's different. But this says they may have intercepted or they played some game and told themselves, see, I'm being helpful, so now she can move on. Well, guess what? Nobody's moved on. You see the skeleton behind her and you see her. These don't look like happy characters. The 10 of Wands is supposed to be relief. So I got to say, if that is the case, that's no good. But how about we check with him? Did you send her a message she never responded to? Why does she stay on your mind? 8 of Pentacles. It is kind of like, well, I've waited a long time to see. Maybe she was working on what she wanted to say to me, didn't know what she wanted to say to me. Ace of Swords. This almost looks like he's saying, well, I thought she turned her back and was done with me. I thought that was the punctuation mark. You know, sometimes silence is the message. Silence is the complete sentence, right? But let me ask one more time. Did you actually reach out to her and not hear back? This is too murky. We get the 2 of Pentacles in the reverse. If it had been an upright, I would have been like, oh, hell, yes, right? This should be balanced. This says it was not balanced. Okay, so maybe we can chill out on this idea, because I was like, no, tell me that somebody didn't intercept a message. Now I have to read this card different and say, no, what this is that she waited. Maybe they had a message that they should have sent and they didn't. Maybe this is the message. I mean, why is the bird a skeleton now? If they were ready to fire off some text or some communication to her and they didn't, this says it was not fair and balanced. They did not respond. So now instead, I have to read this part different and say, so she's lied to herself and saying, I'm not waiting to hear from them when she clearly has been. She clearly has been. She also, if she told herself, oh, it's fine, I'm over them anyway, that isn't true. Whether or not she wanted to wait, something in her energy field had still, like she's realizing, I have actually still been waiting to hear from them. Maybe because she sensed that there was some response that she never got from them. You know, again, we can say, well, silence is a complete sentence, but on the other hand, that's what this whole story has been about. The dream state of like, really, this is the way this ends? Because I think she's, no wonder we have the serpent a couple times. She's at a place where I'm guessing she's about to really forever let them go. And this is kind of that last, like, you know, sometimes right before we make a change in life, you know, we kind of reflect or something, and we do one last, you know, look around right before we go through a really big life altering, you know, change. It's like, I don't think she's going to dream of them much longer or think of them much longer, but this is that final departing energy flow that's kind of bubbling up in her subconscious, which is this the way they intended to leave things with me? Because this door is being swung shut on the energy flow between us. If this is how they wanted to leave things, I will allow it now. If they want to let go of an empress, it seems like all this time she never quite believed that this is the way it would end, but she's actually at the point where she's ready to let it end this way now. And because they, in truth, they did not respond to her. Now, I will say this, they assumed she was done with them, had already spoken her final piece, and so they didn't see there was anything to respond with. She had already worked through everything, so she must have said something that sounded very final to them, something that was very like, and this closes the door. This closes the door. 5 of Cups. If they were very demoralized about this, but then have just been, I'm sorry to say it so rudely, pouting, you know, thinking about her, they sit and think about her. You notice how she is in this, like in the ether, she's in this thought bubble that is attached to them all the time. But hey, she's done. She told me that in the letter she sent me. There was no need for me to respond. So it's over, it's done. And now I just sit in some, some sorrow over all of this. But she walked away, she's done. Again, to me, this feels like maybe she did say something that was like very final, or at least that's how they interpreted it. But I would also say they certainly didn't fight for this, or they didn't respond back. They didn't close anything because they decided to just accept her ending the way, however she said things. Did you intend to end things with them? Did you actually say something that was like, and now we're done? Ooh, yeah, Queen of Cups in the reverse. However, it was an emotional manipulation. Look, this is not to like cast shade on her or call her out, but because I think this is super relatable. When we're hurt, when we're upset, when we don't feel very loved, that's when we say stuff like, well, I don't want this anyway. Because really what we're saying is, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be treated this way. I don't want to feel unloved. So remember the big question mark here was, are they just a player, or are they knight in shining armor? If that was a fundamental question, I could see why even a very wonderful empress would find that they felt insulted, or they felt really sad, or they felt really, poorly used. And then pretty soon you're not acting like an empress, you're acting like a Queen of Cups in the reverse, who becomes emotionally manipulative, saying it's over. If this is how you're going to be, if this is how I'm made to feel, I'm not putting up with this. It's over. When in fact, maybe the better language would have been, do you mean to be treating me like this? Because that's not the way I want to be treated. This is making me feel this way. Did you mean to make me feel this way? Maybe that would have been better language, but maybe that's not the way she said it. She used the manipulation tactic of, what she really maybe wanted was for them to not chase, but course correct that, make her feel loved, make her feel special, not feel lonely, not feel hurt. Fix it is maybe what she meant to say, but instead she might have said, you should feel guilty for the way you've treated me. I'm not putting up with this. I'm done. I'm gone. I'm out. I just think that it's very relatable when we're hurt to not find the right words. And I would say this whole storyline reeks of hurt. Did you read this? Oh no. Are you guys having distorted sound? Okay, hang on just a second. Is it everybody? At least it's a couple of you. Okay, hang on just a second. I think I can possibly fix this. Hang on just a minute. All right. Let's see, guys. Is the audio any better now? I had the internet go out earlier. We're in a heat wave, and then we had an electrical storm tonight also. So I don't know if any of that was impacting things, but hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay, Empress Unicorn 111. Okay, so that did help, at least on your side. Okay, great. So sorry about that, you guys. I'm so glad you guys are letting me know when that happens. I wish I had looked up sooner maybe and seen it in the comments. Okay, but let's get back into this. So how did you interpret her message? We know you said, well, she's done. She's walking away. That was her Ace of Swords moment. 5 of Wands. So he was like, well, it makes me want to fight. It made me think about everything. I did go round and round in my head and in my gut about what should I say? How should I respond? He really thought about her message for a really long time. Did you want to respond to her, or were you just befuddled? King of Swords in the reverse. Again, he wanted to fight. I think he drafted and wrote a couple different things, sometimes mean, sometimes nicer. You notice he has 4 hands, not 2. But when a King of Swords goes into the reverse, they can be vicious. Maybe that's why he didn't send anything, because maybe he drafted again and again and again. It's like, I don't know. This is possibly just one of those situations that he's really struggling with that King of Swords. He didn't respond because maybe he didn't have anything nice to say. Maybe he thought someday she'd reach out to him again. So he held his tongue because he didn't have something nice to say in response. Okay. Three of Wands is upright, though. He thought maybe she'd change her mind somewhere down the road, and she didn't. So essentially, you were pissed at her. You didn't convey anything. You didn't have dialogue with her. You wanted her to come back to you. So there's probably a lot of pride in this also. Nine of Swords. But then he was super stressed out this whole time. Stressed and stressed and stressed and stressed. Okay. More and more stressed because when she didn't come back and she didn't come back and she didn't come back, he's starting to realize she's happy without me, happier without me than perhaps with me. Dragon Fortnite, thank you so much. Thank you for reminding me, you guys. I can see there's 180 of you in here, but only 53 thumbs up. Thank you so much to those of you who are generous enough to just hit that like button. It actually really does help the channel. It's, in fact, that's the only way that I can have this channel is with your guys' interaction. So thank you so much for that. I know it's really hard to remember to do. It's true though for every free content creator out there. If you want them to stay on YouTube and keep making content, we do need your support, the free support like that, because otherwise YouTube won't let our videos be seen. So it's all about the algorithm. So the interaction really helps. So thank you guys. But we have a Two of Swords. That Two of Swords is, I really think he just struggled so much. And the longer it went on, the more it was like devastating. She doesn't want to be with me. I was mad. I didn't want to respond. I thought she'd ask me again or reach out to me. Now I'm freaking out that I think she's happy without me. She really meant it. She's done with me. Now so much time has passed. Now I'm pretty sure she definitely wouldn't want to hear from me. So like we go from worse to worser is what this is looking like. King of Swords, can I just ask, why were you so mad at her? Five of Swords, because she was mad at me and she put up a boundary with me. She told me she didn't want to talk to me. Why do you think she didn't want to talk to you? Obviously, these two had a rip-roaring fight. The Star. I said, why do you think she didn't want to talk to you? And I don't know if he's trying to say, well, she wanted to go heal and stay away from me. And that's what she said, is she wanted to get away from me so she could heal. Or if it's like, oh, she thinks she's a freaking star. I don't know. It just looks like it's maybe, I don't know, like a little bit of hurt or pain on his side. We have the Emperor upright. I'm wondering if her words like really cut him. If she said something that was super belittling about how she would rather go heal and meet somebody better, somebody that's an emperor. I can see how that would have triggered him in a pretty big way. And look, a Queen of Cups in the reverse can hit below the belt. Any of our, court cards that go into the reverse can be really, really angry, really pissy. So it's very possible that, yeah, they're just not happy. She wasn't happy with them. She showed it. This is never good when characters start throwing the barbs, right? Even though it's also very understandable. But, I'm hearing, I believe pride is a chief cause for the decline in the numbers of husbands and wives, right? It got to be too late to say sorry is what it feels like with that Page of Cups and the Four of Wands here. Even though the longer things went on, it's like, God, if only I could go back in time and have said sorry. You notice how we have this mermaid with two faces looking back at the past. It's like, if only when I had the chance to say sorry, I had taken it. If only we had actually had the dialogue, if only we had, met each other like toe to toe. I do think that this situation obviously didn't turn out very nice, but we do need to backtrack just a little bit further and say, with that Knight of Wands, why was that her thought of them? Why was that the energy of, hey, are they really just a cheater or unreliable? Why was that ever a question mark? We have a Nine of Wands, which could say maybe she was in a hurt place. Maybe she was not fully healed from a previous person who'd hurt her. So maybe her mind jumped to the worst case scenario about them. Or maybe she was just kind of fragile. So, it was, I don't know though. We got the Tower. Look, they had some kind of a collapse. They had some kind of like energy. Oh, we got a 10 of Swords. Something happened where they really hurt her. They really hurt her badly enough to where she thought, oh, this is just like what I knew before. Okay, hang on. King of Swords, do you know that something went horribly wrong where you really cut her deeply when she was barely healed from something else? 3 of Cups. Yeah, I think he does. Well, then you got no legs to stand on, darling. If you were dealing with somebody else, the 3 of Cups can be a card of being a cheat. It can be there was more than one person you were talking to. I mean, is that what happened? 4 of Swords. 4 of Swords is there's silence. Okay, so you must have left her in silence for a period of time and she assumed you were with other people. The Chariot, and then she just wanted to run. Hang on. Were you with other people or weren't you? Let's not paint you as a player if you were not a player. But you don't seem to want to answer. We get the 4 of Cups and we get the 6 of Wands. If he did go silent at some point in time, it really left her up in her head. It really left her feeling like this was all an illusion. It left her trying to figure him out without information. And with that 6 of Wands, I don't know if he was out there getting, like sometimes this can be a card of arrogance, somebody who wants a lot of people to like celebrate them. I'm asking a direct question and I don't quite feel like I'm getting a direct answer. Were you dealing with other people? High Priestess, he's like, she kind of already knows what the situation was. Then I'm going to say that you're sidestepping, except we already saw that 3 of Cups here. And then the silence. See, I do think that he maybe, I don't know if he went out with somebody else during the time that she knew him, but that is why this all was like, I'm done. Why would you have gone out with somebody else when you supposedly, I guess, wanted to be with her? 3 of Pentacles. This 3 of Pentacles is like, I don't know if he previously knew somebody already, because there's a secret. There's a moon in the jar. Was this somebody that you already knew? Did you kind of like go back to like get closure with an ex or something? Were you still dealing with an ex? You definitely had a secret with somebody else. The Hermit. And God, she knew it all along, didn't she? There's somebody else. It's not just me on his mind. There's somebody else that he's talking to. Now, she thought it was a cheating scenario. I don't know that it's cheating, but it was definitely somebody else he was still dealing with in this storyline. And that made her say, wow, so you're a cheat or a player just like somebody else I knew. And I had barely healed from somebody else who played mind games with me and was a cheat. And now it turns out you are too. No wonder she was probably big pissed and said, I'm done. I don't want anybody like you. I'd rather be with an emperor. I'd rather heal and stay far away from you. But then he got pissed at her and was like, well, she said she's done with me. She's mad at me. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't have explained things to her if there was an accusation here of wrongdoing and you were totally innocent. I'm surprised that you wouldn't have said, no, that's not it at all. Now that there is a secret with another person, maybe that's why he couldn't contest it. We have a 10 of Pentacles. There's something about like, well, it was about money. It was about somebody that I still shared, monetary things with. I mean, hell, maybe he was still living with someone and he was like, no, I'm single, but I live with somebody. It could have been something along those lines with all these cards that we're having come out. All I can say is if you don't tell somebody something, if you keep a secret with somebody else and you're not telling the Empress individual, and she's intuitively sensing, I know that something's off here. So if you're a cheat, like I've known other cheats, I don't want to deal with you. I don't really think he's got a leg to stand on to be mad in response to her, is what it feels like to me. But he definitely did let her go, which also makes me think, then I hope she lets this whole thing go. I hope that it doesn't matter that he holds on to the thought of her all the time. I don't really see that he was ever doing anything to be with her. Please remember, this could be a masculine or a feminine. Why do you hold on to the thought of her? Why is it that you can't get over her? We saw you say that. The fates. It's because he screwed her over. This is one of those things. This is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So the Wheel of Fortune says, on one hand, like, I met somebody at a really great time of my life. This could have gone very differently. But unfortunately, everything unraveled, right? And the fates in Greek mythology, they're also known as the Morai. And so the Morai are the three crone sisters that give mortals our lifespan. And so, one of them, the first sister, like pulls this golden thread, or spins it, I should say. And the second sister pulls the golden thread that represents our mortal lifespan. And then the third sister cuts the thread, and that, represents our ending of our lifespan. And it just kind of feels like they're realizing that in the big scheme of their life, this is one that, like, it got really tangled up and unraveled. They had a chance to do things different, and they instead, like, tangled up their golden ball of thread. And it's kind of one that they're going to carry with them permanently. This is not, everything should have been done different, but that's all hindsight. So, I mean, even though that was the perfect time, they met her at the perfect time where they could have behaved differently, they didn't take that path. Is there a reason that you didn't take the path of being, like, completely transparent, or that you stopped dealing with secrets and just were open and honest with her? Is there a reason for that? Knight of Cups is here, but they're laying here, and she was, so this is, again, not to, like, poke, or say anything negative at our Empress Queen of Cups character, but it does say she was kind of pursuing them, and they liked that. She was much more generous, much more loving, wanted to get to know them, and they were able to lay there like a little clod, and she was offering them her sweet, sweet nectar. They wanted to be pursued. They were enjoying her attention. It allowed them to maybe keep things a little bit murky, a little bit secretive, because it's like, well, she's the one pursuing me. So, in their eyes anyway, this could have been really lovely. It's like when somebody is doing nice things for us, they just wanted to absorb that. Why did they not tell her that, hey, I shouldn't be absorbing anything from you if I'm still keeping a secret, unfinished business with somebody else? Well, I mean, do you tell somebody to quit, handing you money? If you're honest and honorable, yeah, you do. Hey, this isn't my money. Don't keep handing it to me. But that's not maybe the energy that they were in. They were like, oh, this feels nice. This is terrific. Gosh, yum, yum, sweet nectar. Give me more of this. I like this. I don't know. I have to say, I have not painted a very nice picture of this character. And they're, what really bugged me in this, I think, is that they got irritated with her because she expected to be treated better, and they didn't contest anything, or instead they got pissed. That really is probably the turning point where I'm like, I'll let this mofo go. This card, this right here, tells me, so you weren't honorable, but then you were mad at her for being mad at you, and then you were really stressed because you're still jealous that you think she's off having a better life. I know this feels so selfish, but the reason they didn't want to talk to her is because she was mean to me, but she was also spot on. You hadn't treated her nicely. She accused you of something, and it turns out in this, she was right. She was trying to learn about you and get to know you, but pretty sure that you were stoking your ego, enjoying her attention, but knowing full well that you had another secret. I'm sorry, but that Three of Pentacles, I don't know where the card went with them sharing the bottle of moon, followed by the Ten of Pentacles. The fact that they had something hidden in all this, to me, that's it. That's what broke this story for me, where I'm like, yeah, no, who cares? Let this one go. But she's just having that final dream state of like, why am I dreaming of them? Is this really what you were? Were you really just a Knight of Wands? And in this story, it's kind of like, if that's what she's trying to get the answer to, did I misjudge somebody? They were really great, but I called them a Knight of Wands. Is that why they hated me and never wanted to talk to me again? Because they were so shocked and mortified that I would have dared to suggest that I thought they weren't truthful with me and that they were a player, and instead they were this wonderful person and I've done them wrong? Or is this somebody who they really want to just let things go with me and this is the way it ends? She kind of, I think, as an Empress, maybe has worried that she has misjudged the whole situation, or that, that nagging in her subconscious has been making her ask those really profound questions. Did I screw this one up, or did they? Final message. Nah, we got the Justice card. I get the fact that she doesn't want to walk away and think that she did somebody wrong, but in this particular story, and we see this little dude running away from Lady Justice. Lady Justice says, look, you got karma coming. This is them not responding to her, not talking to her, because they didn't want to clear up what they'd actually done. They didn't want to lose her. They actually hate the way this is all played out. They will always feel crappy about what happened with her. But they're still like really sad to think that she's going on and being really happy in her life. But they couldn't have course corrected this because they hadn't been truthful in this story. Please remember, these are fictional. But we got 4 arms here. This is the reason she's half red and half white in her garment here is because this is the argument between my head and my heart. And I think that this kind of represented her saying, am I doing someone wrong, or did they do me wrong and I simply called it like it was? You notice, though, she probably, as an Empress, she doesn't like the fact that she behaved as a Queen of Cups. And I think that's great for, any true Empress is going to be like, but I shouldn't have handled something that way. If they were doing me wrong or if they weren't, I still should have handled my dialogue different. An Empress is an Empress because she can pull on her own leash sometimes and be like, look, what I said might have been true, but that is not the way I want to deliver anything, because then it always leaves me questioning, what if I'm the asshole? What if it almost feels like all she had to go off of was like some gut instinct that she couldn't shake in this story, because we didn't really see direct proof. We saw her contemplating with that 4 of Cups. We saw her as the hermit up in the tree and saying, no, there's no way I'm wrong about this. There has to be somebody else that they're dealing with. There's something that they're not telling me. They're not being truthful. But still, she wishes she had handled things differently. But I will still say, okay, fine. We can say, yes, she could have handled things a little bit better. But they're still the ones running from an open dialogue. And if they had ever wanted to course correct something with her, they would have by now. They didn't. They ran from actually having to take accountability. That's all I see here. I don't see them. I see them bummed for the rest of their freaking life over this. I see them knowing that they missed out on something with her. I know that I said that was going to be the last card, but let me go one last time and just say what happens with them as they move forward, because I think she's ready to move on. They stay stuck in this. This is a real, again, this is a moment where, when you've done wrong and you did it, you did wrong, and you can run from it, but it stays with you. Just like we had the 6 of Swords in the reverse for them, that's not being able to move into calmer waters. Their karma is that they are plagued with remembering every detail about how this thing melted down, every detail about all the moments they could have fixed this with her and didn't. That is living hell to be stuck in that place, right? They can look and tell themselves, I didn't do anything wrong, blah, 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 and they know better. You can't run from your conscience. That's the whole point. It's inside of you. They know that they got to realize that they lost her, and there was so many opportunities that they could have course corrected it, and they didn't have to have it go this way. They know she thinks really poorly of them. At least that's what or whatever word she spoke to them were probably pretty gnarly as a Queen of Cups in the reverse. And unfortunately, remember, those are her last words to them. So that sucks really bad, because whatever she said to them, that's what they got to live with. Her opinion of me, which, by the way, in this storyline looks like it was actually spot on. If she said you're, whatever, unreliable, I think you're untrustworthy, I think that you're a liar and a cheat. She said that because she was pretty sure that they were being a Knight of Wands. You present yourself like a knight in shining armor, but you're not. You're not a king. You're not an emperor. I don't want to be with somebody like you. I'm an empress who wants an emperor. So I'm going to stay away from you and heal. And I tell you, I will definitely meet an emperor because I won't tolerate a knight. You know, we saw all those cards in this. So that's that's a real salt on the paper cut, right? The fact that they're stuck on the fact that they lost her. She called it as it was in none too gentle a way, but because they left things as it was, that's what echoes in their head. It sucks to be them right now. This is a really sucky situation because I don't see them doing anything to reverse this, try to, get better closure, try to say, you know what, I was really sucky. I did hide something from you. Then I didn't want to take responsibility. Then I was mad at you. But all this time I can't let you go because I never wanted to not, be with you. I don't know why the hell I couldn't have been more truthful. I was tangled up with somebody financially still. I wasn't honest about it. When you accused me of not being honest with you, I didn't want to admit it. Now I blew it. They could try to get, open dialogue, take accountability, but we just don't see them doing it. So they're making their own private hell. That's just how it goes sometimes. All right. I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. Sorry, this one was pretty bumpy, but whew, that was a ride and a really long one. You guys, thank you so much again for giving it a thumbs up. I so appreciate you guys. It does mean all the world for free content creators like myself. Without interaction, without the thumbs up, the algorithm does not appreciate the videos, and so they don't circulate, and then nothing ever gets seen, and so then little by little, smaller channels just don't stick around. So if you guys have any content creators out there that you enjoy the free content of, that you watch, please don't forget to give them a thumbs up. I know it's really easy to forget. I know I do it too. So I try to remember to say thank you guys so much because it does make all the difference in the world. But thank you guys for being here. Sal TV Angel, thank you so much. Tony Richmond, hi Little Mexican, so good to see everybody. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Shane's 2. Astronoid, hi, honey. Dragon Fortnite, so good to see you. I hope you're doing great. Bruce Reed, hi. I hear you, Bruce. That was like the greatest synopsis ever, Bruce. I should just ask Bruce to give us like a 1-paragraph synopsis of every story, and then you guys don't even have to listen to it. You can just read Bruce's synopsis that like hit every point, Bruce. Hey, Robin. And again, thank you guys for letting me know that the sound was crackly. I hope that got better. Hi, V. Decoded, Global Native. Thank you. You're so sweet. Honestly, Global Native, there was so many apples to pick, and we still have 1 tree. We only picked 2 trees so far. And I'm like melted. It was a lot. I didn't even get to the cider making. It took us that long to pick. And then we had to go out and buy another apple picker, and just, there was so many so up high, and our apple picker, it's just a manual one, right? Just like a little claw on a long wooden handle, and the claw part popped off. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to get these picked because they were like roasting. They're like baking on the trees right now. So we had to run over and buy a new apple picker. And then, you pick what you can, and then you have to like start shaking the tree, and you have to hold sheets underneath and catch your apples and sift through and sort what's going to be frozen apples for apple pie and crisp and stuff in the winter versus what's going to become apple cider. So like the whole process that's what we got through tonight, not the actual cider making yet. That'll happen still throughout this week. But at least now they're picked and they're in a cool place. But we still have 1 more tree to get to. But they need just about another week and a half before they'll be ready to pick their little later apple. So that's good. And then in October, there's actually 1 more apple tree, but we don't do anything with that one but eat it. So we're apple people in my family. You guys, thank you so much. You guys are so kind. Thank you. Sweet. You're so awesome. I love all your additions, Sweet. You're so wonderful. EM, hi, honey. Danielle, nice to see you. I know, right? This was a popcorn chomper for sure. Oh, sweetheart, Bruce, you said that you're going to have a full shoulder replacement next month. Atropic bone degeneration. I'm sorry, hun. I hope that you heal up really quickly, though. Crystal Suzanne, I know you've been dealing with that shoulder for a while, though. Hopefully, this will be the magical fix. Robin G, I'll loan you my hog. uh, thanks again, you guys. All right, I'm going to bounce over to the other channel and get to an Aries video, and I will still get a Cancerian video on this channel tonight as well. Lulu, thank you, honey. Ingrid, nice to see you. Rossi, Empress Unicorn, thanks again. So good to catch you. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the other channel. Sorry to bounce back and forth a little bit tonight. Angel R, that could be. Tyranny Dawn, awesome to catch you. Michelle S. Oh my gosh, wow. Wonder T, Lisa, April, RT, Godzilla MC. Espresso martini, nice. Oh, Godzilla, you're so awesome. Over a mountain across the sea. There's a girl, she's waiting for me. Mary Jones, hi, Miss Moody, Child of God, The Storm Cleanses, Sexy Senator Sag. Thank you, everybody. Jeannie Vale's in the house. Annette Summersby, I almost missed you there. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the other side. Lots of love for right now. Good, Bruce, I'm really pleased to hear it. Please keep me updated. You know I'm always sending you good vibes. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow, Monday, I will be going live on both channels and doing card pulls. I'll also be doing that in our members' corners, okay? So I will see you guys a lot on Monday. Bye for now.